10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
And live, episode 199 of the Competition Plus Power Hour. And as of right now, you can't see me. It is the voice of Lee Craft. And over there, Mr. Dugenet Bland. We're looking forward to talking drag racing once again. Now it's just going to be us two yakking it up along with you in the comment section, the bleachers out there of the internet world. We'd love for you to dive in. And we're going to be talking winter drag racing because it is stronger than ever before. It is a reality. The sport of drag racing does not stop at all in the day and time that we're in.
Yeah, it's so much going on through December, and a lot of tracks, they may have stopped just probably this week, maybe. Outside of that, come January, they're back at it again. And it's month after month after month from January. So, yeah, there ain't much lull in drag racing.
Man, there is not. And honestly, and we're going to look at it in a few moments through the show, there are tracks that are in certain areas of the country that I'm thinking to myself, wow, you're going to attempt this event, but yet I think it will work with the way in which they're setting it up. Because we're not talking about bringing in pro mods. We're talking about events that involve dailies with a spin. So I think this is smart by many drag racing venues. And certainly, obviously, we've got to talk about big events such as this weekend with the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals and also the kickoff, the firing up of a new championship series in the Drag Illustrated Winter Series. All of these great things for drag racing overall. Dugenet, I got into Lafayette, Indiana last night. By the way, Indianapolis, do something with your roads. Constantly there are problems in Indianapolis for whatever reason with the roads and slick conditions. I've had it coming and going. Come on. It was a small bit of snow that rolled through. Should be able to handle that, Indianapolis. Come on. Yeah. But get into Lafayette. I go into McKinney Corp this morning, and we're going to talk about winter drag racing from this aspect as well. It is certainly not off-season for all the race shops. It is not off-season for McKinney Corp. It is not off-season for Larry Jeffers Race Cars, for Jerry Bickle Race Cars, for RJ Race. It's just every race shop. They've got things on the jig. They have got product going out. Dugenet, just a week ago at McKinney Corp, there were 5 funny car chassis. That's a lot. That's like every stall is full. Today, I walked in the shop. I counted 11 funny car chassis in all various stages. Some brand new, some coming in to be front half, some just getting a little tab here or there and pop in, pop out. But nonetheless, it is not off season for the race shops. They are at full song.
Yep. It's a lot of work being done. It seems like there's a lot of people looking to race this upcoming year, and that's great for drag racing. That's great for series like Funny Car Chaos as well. If those people are looking to get involved in that, that's great for not just for drag racing, but man, the shops, they need it. And when business is humming, that really says a lot about what's coming down the pipe here when certain seasons get back going.
I agree completely. I think you can definitely tell the health of any series or sport by what is in the pipeline. You can look at the talent pool of Major League Baseball, of soccer, of football. Oh, man, our sport is about to ramp up because we have these athletes in the pipeline.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember the hysteria around a LeBron James many years ago from his time in high school to coming up into the professional ranks. And you get that, in stick and ball sports for sure, especially the media that can, focus on them. You don't quite get that in motorsports because you don't always get that glimpse into the shops. But I can tell you right now that there are teams that, let's just put it this way, they have been well overdue for a front half and chassis modifications, and they're in the shop right now to get those. And you might see that, oh, we want to perform better, but yet you haven't quite seen it on the track come to fruition with now being back in the shop type of case. And people, like I heard from Murph, that there's folks wanting to build super comp dragsters, and it is healthy across the board. People are wanting to go racing, and that may not be you or I, but there's people out there with the means to go out, go racing, and as spectators, as media, still enjoy it and see it, and come right here on competitionplus.com and the Power Hour and talk about it. So yeah, if you call up Larry Jeffers Race Cars, I'm sure they're busy. You call up RJ Race Cars, they're busy. You call up Jerry Bickle, they're busy. You call up McKinney Corp, they're busy. And it is certainly not off season at these places.
Yeah, it's great to hear that. And I'm looking forward to what that all brings as we kick off really in January.
Right. It's, we've already heard some rumors of these teams adding another car, and in the professional ranks, I think of Scrappers Racing. Like, what is Scrappers Racing going to look like in 2025? I certainly cannot expect Jasmine not to be out there full time, but it seems like Mike is going to be returning to the car very, very soon. And you have the alliance that Travis Shoemake has with Scrappers Racing, and he showcased that, hey, he's been in the car himself, but he also has rented that ride out to the such of Gary Pritchett, who performed admirably and even picking up a professional round win there at Pomona in the In-N-Out Burger NHRA World Finals. So there are so many moves happening right now, and people are getting brand new race cars, and people are getting modifications. I know Lex June, his car is going to be going into McKinney Corp soon, and there's heritage cars being built. I mean, right now, as you kind of mentioned, you said, hey, that sounds good, especially even for somewhere like Funny Car Chaos. Right now, just looking at McKinney Corp alone and what I know and what I've got access to, there are 2 NHRA Heritage Series cars brand new being built. There is a brand new car intended for mainly Funny Car Chaos, but occasionally possibly running in the Heritage Series as well. And there are also in the shop top alcohol funny cars for modifications. And there's also a brand new NHRA Mission Foods NHRA funny car on the jig, and two, in fact, to be front half and be shipped back out for the NHRA Tour as well. It's full blast.
Yeah. I mean, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, we're probably not talking about this. And so it kind of speaks to what we've been talking about over the last couple of years, the kind of resurgence and of drag racing as a whole. Really people are investing, people are building, and we're still seeing this thing peak out. And it hasn't reached its peak yet, to be honest. So this is really good to hear. That means that it's going to be more competition. There's going to be more things in bigger fields for people like the Heritage Series, like Funny Car Chaos. So that just means more people, great competition, and it's going to be great for the fans. So all this stuff is great all the way around for the health of the sport, but also for those who are spectators and are looking for something or somewhere to go. It's going to be fun.
It is going to be fun. There is certainly going to be a lot of drag racing in 2025. It is not slowing down at all. I know folks can get whipped into a frenzy and a hysteria. I know I posted concerning Milan Dragway that it is up for sale. And if I may, also public service announcement for anyone watching that it may directly pertain to. I, Lee Kraft, the Monday Morning Racer, if I post it and it's a press release, I received it directly via email and didn't take it from another site. It was given to me just like a competitionbless.com or just like a Drag Illustrated or just like a dragzine.com to post. So if you ever see it posted on Monday Morning Racer as content on the site, it was sent to me and it's official from wherever it came from. Now, with that being said, folks, they ran with it that, oh, Milan's closing and it's going to be bulldozed and turn into a development and all that. No, when you start piecing all the things together about this being put on the market announcement and an article from dragillustrated.com, no, it's on the market. They're ready to sell, but it is business as normal until the right buyer is found.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, the right buyer. So it tells you where their mindset is, what type of buyer they're looking for. Obviously they want to keep this track. So if they weren't intending to keep it, then it would just be up to the highest bidder. And that doesn't appear. It appears that they have intention, and they're very intentional who they plan on selling it to. So you kind of gotta cool it with all of it, and wait for things to play out, so to speak. And again, there's so many drag strips that are out there, and there are new ones, and there are some that are closing. But at the end of the day, there's still a whole lot of places where people can go racing. So it's really not that bad. It's not gloom and doom.
No, I completely agree. And you dive into information from like Brett Kepner. It wasn't too long ago that there were more operating drag strips in the United States of America than like ever before. And if we do lose some, you're not even reaching back to the time when it was, a handful of tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes there's a case that some places they go by the wayside because of poor management. That's a reality. Mm-hmm. I also know that there are times when people just don't want to operate a racetrack no more because fans and racers sometimes suck. And they get tired of it. And I'm going to give you an example. This is from the dirt track world. Cherokee Speedway in Cherokee, South Carolina has a moniker of the place that your mama warned you about. And it was a big, fast track. And at one time, bigger than what it is. And it's still a very big, fast, multi-groove, red clay dirt track. And today, I shared it on MMR. They posted they were trying to have something fun, an open practice, and a big bonfire for fans and racers. And there was a fight broke out. Police had to be called, and a person that works for the track that tried to step in and break it up got put to the ground, kicked, some ribs broke. And it's like, see, kids, this is why we can't have nice things.
Exactly.
This is why we can't have nice things. This is what gives tracks a bad reputation in the community. This is what sometimes it's you, the fan, that's at fault, or you, the racer, that's at fault.
Yep. And that's why they get out of business, because they don't want to deal with it. And I can't blame them for that.
I can't blame them for that either. Speaking of business, Dujanet, and definitely we're going to be diving into some drag racing itself, because winter drag racing is a reality. Yeah. This is trade show time for sure. SEMA certainly has a connection. NHRA has a big presence at SEMA. That happens after the Nevada Nationals there at Las Vegas in the state of Nevada around that time of Halloween. But you get to some very specific motorsport trade shows, such as next week, PRI, Performance Racing Industry Trade Show, happening in Indianapolis. at the convention center. That is a big one for drag racing. NHRA's got a big stage. So much will be announced there. And we've had Glenn Cromwell on the show. We are expecting big announcements from what he shared with us about a month ago. So looking forward to that. But then there are other trade shows as well regionally. There's a trade show in the Northeast. There's a trade show in the Southeast. There's trade shows in Tennessee. You can find smaller motorsport trade shows during the winter, the off season, which really makes it still in season for racing, but in a different way for the racers, the teams, and those who make and produce products. It is time to wheel and deal. It is time to make connections. It is time to make announcements and really look to drag racing in 2025 and hype it up.
Indeed. This is what I like to call the NHRA's version of free agency frenzy. There's a lot of announcements being made. There's a lot of changes that will be made. Silly seasons kind of started a little bit before PRI. Obviously, some things are speculation and hearsay and no definite to do of what will exactly happen. But it's going to be a fun time where things will be moving around. People will be making announcements of changes, and whether that's adding or subtracting, it's going to be a quite interesting time for everyone as people and crew chiefs and cars begin to move and be added.
So, folks, keep the lookout for what is going to be announced at PRI next week. I'm sure there will be an NHRA live stream. I know there will be an NHRA live stream. You can catch that on NHRA.tv. I know oftentimes it's even on YouTube, NHRA YouTube. So if you're a drag racing fan, you can be plugged into NHRA YouTube and other live shows as well and get the scoop from PRI. But big news will certainly be rolling out. And we're about to roll into talking about some drag racing in particular, but someone that makes drag racing for a lot of drag racers possible. And they also pump this show up. That's Weldon High Performance. Their high performance pumps, they get it done on the track. And as I have said many times, they also get it done in the air. If they can pump the fuel for airplanes and keep things afloat, they can certainly allow a drag car to fly down the drag strip. We thank Weldon High Performance for the support of the Power Hour, giving us the power for this show on CompetitionPlus.com. After this word from Weldon High Performance, we'll talk specifically about what's happening in drag racing. Dujanay, big races even this weekend. I know many that are watching. They are aware of the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals that will be taking place down in Bradenton, Florida, at Bradenton Motorsports Park. We are going to be talking about that in a few moments. And as we talk about these races that are upcoming, if you know of a race in your area, dive into the comments section and let us know, because winter drag racing is a reality. It is happening across the country now. And we're about to share some events that I know you have found them interesting. I have found them interesting. And they are in places that it's like, really? Y'all are going to attempt to do drag racing at that time of the year? So I cannot wait to see what is about to take place in the winter of 2024-2025. Leading up to big-time drag racing in Florida and elsewhere across the country where it's a bit warmer. The first event, Dujanay, that I want to talk about, possibly some would say the Super Bowl, if you will, the Daytona 500, the Indy 500, the U.S. Nationals of the back of the track, no prep drag racing scene, Rockingham Dragway in Rockingham, North Carolina. Dig or die. This time, the Christmas Clash. That's also taking place this weekend. Dujane, this is the big one in the no prep world.
Yeah, man. This is one of those things. It's kind of like lights out here, and I believe a couple other things that South Georgia Motorsports Park does. But this is huge, man. This is real huge, and it's an event that it's a bucket list. I think it's one that you have to go if you can and check it out. It's going to be some heavy hitters there and some really good racing.
I completely agree. It's an event that I've had circled on the calendar, and it seems like every time something comes up, like, just this weekend for me, recently engaged, and I just want to kind of enjoy my first ever holidays with my fiance and do the holiday stuff. You can only ever do that once during that time. So I want to get some of that time in, and then just with my responsibilities at McKinney Corp, doing that and everything involved and the traveling to and fro, not going to be able to get it in this year. And there's been other times where I'm like, oh, I'm at March meet and they're having it, or I'm at games or whatever's happening. It seems like I just have not been able to get there, though I've had it circled on my event. And I know many of the people that are watching, you are fans of nitromethane burning drag racing, NHRA Top Fuel, NHRA Funny Car. You're fans of Pro Stock. You're fans of Super Stock. If you have never been to a back of the track, no prep event, take the time and go. It is more enjoyable. Now, it's a different crowd. It's a different culture. Do not misunderstand me. You're going to be in for a little bit of a shock, and you might be that weirdo out there like, I don't know what to do. And be prepared for a bunch of Fox bodies. And, you can just instead like, oh, it's Pro Camaro. It's like no prep Fox body. So be prepared for that. But nonetheless, it is a great drag racing scene where I really feel like you have this mixture of hot rodding and drag racing coming back together. And it's also smart for facilities that can work it out with their insurance and that they have the room and the means to do it. Look, you're going drag racing in a cooler time of the year, but it doesn't matter as much because you don't need to lay the prep down. You don't need that preparation. You don't need the optimal conditions because these cars aren't looking for it anyway.
Right. Exactly. I think you find some of I think this is kind of where you are talking about grassroots type racing.
Certainly.
It's just the stuff that, you had a couple people in your neighborhood, they built cars and they may have some people that they know and they talk trash and my car's better than yours. And they take it out on that local straightaway that you guys got around the corner there and light the tires up and drop the hands and find out who's best. Sometimes there's a little money on the line and that's this type of racing and takes you back. But I think the competition and the intensity is no different than any other pro racing, if not stronger, because sometimes there's a little skin in the game, but there's a lot of pride on the line too. There's a lot of bragging rights on the line, and man, these guys want to get it done, and it's fun to watch, man. It really is. It's fun to watch from the trash talking to the on the track stuff. Right. It's awesome.
Right. And look, it's real. You can look at NHRA drag racing and they're like, oh, we're a big family. That's true. But guess what? There's times even within family, you're like, I don't like that dude. I don't care if I'm blood. I don't like that sucker. And they are open about it in the no prep world, in that scene. I'm not necessarily in the no prep king scene, nothing against it, but like the back of the track, there's lines and there is bad blood. And I mean, I've experienced, like, I don't like that guy. I'm like, interesting. Like, then I have nothing good to say. Therefore, don't ask me that question because there will not be a good, pleasant answer on that question about this particular racer.
Yeah.
And, look, there's money on the line. there's ingenuity in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like there has slowly developed some rules, like, okay, you can't have external weights hanging off the back of the car and things of that nature. And, do you need fenders or can you go fenderless? All these type of things. But it is an interesting segment of the drag racing world, and in a modern way takes it back to the early days of drag racing, strangely. In some ways that I don't think is necessary, in other ways that I think it's very cool in getting back to the essence and heart of drag racing. But you'll see there a lot of the big names that have made big names for themselves because of what they're doing in drag racing and because they've got successful YouTube channels and their personality and what they're doing in motorsports. I do want to give a shout out Corey Stamper, Spooled Media. He'll be there. If I'm not mistaken, he'll be there and he'll be there live. So you'll be able to watch the action on Spooled Media with Corey Stamper. And again, you'll start seeing a lot come out after this weekend on Dig or Die on YouTube. If you've never been, hey, get to a historic track, Rockingham Dragway.
Yeah.
They've been making a lot of improvements, been taking that track forward in a lot of ways, but this has been a big, big event, whether it's the early one or the late one. Dig or Die is big in the back of the track drag racing scene, and certainly hope they have a good event. It is going to be a good event. And look, if you can't make it to Florida, maybe you can make it to North Carolina. If you don't have a Flow subscription, check out Spooled Media and enjoy some back of the track drag racing this weekend at the Rockingham Dragway. Now, Dujanay, I told you about this show, hey, we're not going to have no guests. All those things fell through, and we'll just yak it up about drag racing. And I'm like, hey, let's talk winter drag racing, because I found some events that are kind of strange.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. What do you think about this thing at Maple Grove that's going to be happening?
Man, this is interesting. I was kind of investigating this a little bit. So, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to have a no prep daily drivers race here. You can pretty much, bring whatever you want. You have to drive it to the track. It has to run, under 9 seconds to the 8th mile. This is quite interesting because anybody can get involved in this. It's only $40 for entry. You can buy back in for $20. That's fairly cheap. You can actually no prep test for $50 for per car. I mean, for people who don't have the means to have these extravagant, full-blown race cars and still love drag racing, still want to compete, this is something you can enter in. And it's in Pennsylvania.
Right.
It's Pennsylvania, December 14th. We're in the coldest part we've seen in a long time in December. Don't know what it's going to look like around the 14th, but forecasts have a lot of different cold fronts coming through. This is going to be interesting, but man, you don't need all that heat on the track for these things. Just come out, bring your daily driver, and bring your reaction time. If you want a deep stage, go ahead.
I applaud Maple Grove for doing this. It is Pennsylvania, and I mean it's already pretty cool here in Indiana. Now it's supposed to warm up and be a balmy 40 degrees like during PRI next week. Maybe it's going to be around that temperature range there in Maple Grove, but
yeah,
I applaud them for putting something like this on. This is just cool. Daily driver, no prep racing
outside of the box.
Yeah, I think it is. It's outside the box, and if you've got a car that fits parameters, this is something you can go and be a part of. Again, you can race on a professional drag strip where the pros race, but you can go out there yourself and get your car entered. And look, they're like, if there's over 100 entries, there's $1,000 to the winner. You can go have some fun, race your car, and possibly win $1,000.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what you bring. I mean, look, you got that the egg out there on this picture in a Volvo, and I mean an old Volvo. So whatever you got, man, if it runs, and go ahead, enter. It's pretty cheap, like I said, pretty cheap to do, and if you go out, buy back in, it's not expensive, and gives you something to do and gives fans something to do. I mean, that's got to be something fun to watch. I'd be interested to go and see how that all turns out.
I completely agree. If I did not have PRI already scheduled, it would be something that I would consider covering myself. I like the idea behind it. It is such a cool deal. And again, just showcases, so many times in the comments section, you will find, the average man can't go racing today. And certainly, the average man is not going to be going fuel racing anytime soon. You could make an argument that there was never a time an average man was going fuel racing, but that's another discussion.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, there are opportunities out there in drag racing to take your daily and participate. And you can do that actually almost every weekend in bracket racing at your local track, by the way. But that is one of the beautiful things about drag racing. You can take your daily that you drove in and still put it in the race. So many of the motorsports endeavors, like I think of NASCAR. NASCAR, when you look at its inception, you had people driving to the track, taping up the headlights because, if it busted, they wanted to keep it together because they were going to be turning around after changing tires, more than likely, if they even did that, and heading back up the road in the car that they drove down in to race. Yeah. Well, look, that's not happening today in NASCAR at any level. Like even a Crown Vic at your local short track, you have gutted that thing, you've put a roll cage in it, something like that. Drag racing still affords for you to take your daily and go race and go compete. And I think for a place like Maple Grove, this is a good move to keep the racing going. For them as a business, it keeps revenue. It just keeps showcasing that you are out there, you're alive, you're well, you're doing business, and you're giving people a place to race. And you never know what something like that might build to.
Right.
Now, Dugenais, as cool as the No Prep daily event there at Maple Grove is going to be, Dragway 42 has got a wild one.
Yeah. And you can bring, you can bring trucks, you can bring whatever, man.
Hey, I love the name, the Hangover
Nationals. Yeah. They used to do something similar to this at Holt Dragway in Northwest Florida. They'd have diesel trucks out there, regular daily driver cars out there. They would do that every now and then. This right here is another creative thing to do around New Year's time. Gives people something to do. Again, not that expensive to enter. They're running under the IHRA rules. So, you can have 2-wheel, 4-wheel, doesn't matter, man. Bring it all. And I think that's fun. Sometimes you get to watch some people bring their trucks out there that really don't know what they're doing, and you get to see them blow them up sometimes.
Hey, what I find interesting about this is the 2025 index.
Yeah.
So let me see really quickly if I can get an idea on quarter mile calculators. Just get a rough idea of what is possible for something of that. Oh man.
I can.
Okay. I can't really quickly, but I'm trying to find something simple and it's just not doing it.
My soul under could run under 2025.
Okay, great. Okay, there we go. There's a parameter. Like I'm thinking to myself, my turbo 4-cylinder Hyundai Santa Cruz should be able to do quicker than that in a quarter mile.
Yeah.
So if it's a 2025 index, there's going to have to be some gamesmanship.
Yes.
In this,
you have to know what your car can run with ease and pretty accurately in order to be able to hit that.
Yeah.
Because I can run under that in my Kia Soul Turbo without it being in sport.
Okay, there's my point. So, like, maybe you want the 1987 minivan that's burning some oil and sputtering a little bit, and you hope that it sputters 3 times each time at least.
Right.
And it is over that index and not under, and you can just keep it flat-footed. But again, honestly, this is one of those events that I got to look at my schedule and look at the calendar and what happens with weather and everything. But this is an intriguing drag racing event.
Oh, yeah.
That because of this wild index, how does it all work out? Yeah, I'm interested in this one. May very well show up and put the Hyundai in it and vlog it, and this sounds like it could be fun.
Yeah, I mean, because it takes skill. I mean, yeah, you can have a Charger all day long. Great, cool, whatever. But at the end of the day, that's your index, and you got to figure out how to get that fast car down the track, but not breaking out. That's some skill, man. I like it. That makes it very, very interesting, and it's a lot of strategy involved in this. So, yeah, I'm all for that.
I agree. I hope I can make this one. I really do. I hope I can. It seems interesting.
Yeah.
Seems interesting. And again, it is a track that's doing this that is a bit further north than you would think a drag strip would be doing anything.
Yeah.
But this is certainly a good use of facility and time. Why not get some more racing action in? And you never know who you might find that comes to the drag strip for the first time and try something like this, and they never have before, and then they get hooked and they get into the bracket program, and then they get a bracket car, and then they want to go faster and they get on nitro, and you never know. I mean, just go down the whole rabbit hole. It's happened. It can happen.
Sure.
But this is a neat idea. This is a neat idea. And more tracks need to do things like this and think outside the box. Look, have your points paying program, your weekly points paying program. Have that, yes. Have your special events where in the middle of summer, if you are in an area where it fits, where you have some funny cars doing some match racing and jet cars and it's not a fire, do that. But don't forget about the average Joe.
Yeah.
And try to put some things in at other places. This is just a good use of a venue and a facility and keeping racing going in a time frame where, I really wonder if there's going to be footage of like snow plowed off the drag strip or something and cars going down it. Honestly, I really wonder.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
The track prep may not be glue. It might be salt for all we know.
Right. Yeah, I was looking back too, and Andrew brought it up in the comments. I was looking at Maple Grove in that race they have on December 28th with the small tire. They've got small tire out there. It's called the New Year's at the Grove. Small tires out there. They've got big tire all-wheel drive. They've got the street class out there. Stick shift, all motor. No prep racing here. I mean, it's December 28th in Reading, Pennsylvania. And we're having, cars that make some serious horsepower going down this racetrack in December 28th. I think that's going to be another solid event as well. A lot of fun to be had at that racetrack with the next two events coming up here for them. And what a way to cap off the year there. Like you said, a lot of Fox bodies going to be out here.
Right, for sure. But to Drag Race 42, to Maple Grove, many others thinking a bit outside of the box, thinking outside of the window of the calendar year, if you will, for drag strips in those places, of doing something a little different. I know the Texas Motorplex has got an event coming up in a couple of weeks or so as well. And I don't know if they've announced it yet, but I've heard they've also got an event in January with Mopar. So drag racing, honestly, there's no off season, ladies and gentlemen. No. If you think there's an off season, it's because you're just tuned in to one segment of drag racing and not drag racing overall.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking ahead to South Georgia Motorsports Park, and they start in January on the 11th. They'll have that Steed Stampede. They have a little bit of mud racing out there, but then the 25th of January prepares the pre-sick week test. Then the 26th is the sick week test. Then the 27th is the registration, and sick week starts the 28th of January till February. And it keeps going. They've got Test and Tune February 7th. They've got Lights Out is February 15th through the 16th. They've got the protesting for Lights Out there, the early parking, the protesting for 16th and 18th, and then 19th to the 23rd will be Lights Out 16. And they're going right back to Test and Tune on the 28th of February. My favorite, and my calendar is marked. Sick week is one of those things, but Southeast Gasters Association, March 21st and 22nd. That's already marked, baby.
I think it's going to be big. It's going to be big.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. Should be a great event, and I expect our Valdostans and the like, the Hayharas, the Adels of the world will be there in full force. They love their cars, and they love those type of cars. It will be packed.
Looking forward to that one. I think everybody's looking forward to this event this weekend, an event that has traditionally for a long time now been that winter race, and the one that really says, all right, it's off season, but it's not really off season. Let's still do some drag racing, but do it down in Florida. The Snowbird Outlaw Nationals, presented by Motion Raceworks. As you can see, December 5th through the 8th, there at Bradenton Motorsports Park. Dugenais, obviously Pro Mods, they are the marquee attraction. They're in the lights. But very quickly, let me give the rundown of what is all taking place at the Snowbird Nationals. $50,000 to the winner of Outlaw Pro Mod, 32 car field. There also is Pro 275.
Yeah.
There is Florida No Time Racing. There is also a No Time Truck Shootout. There is Limited Drag Radial. There is Pro 632. There's Ultra Street. There is as well 460 motorcycles. And then there is 550, 650, and 750 indexes. Last but not least, Junior Dragsters all on property. By the way, Saturday night is the night of fire for Bradenton Motorsports Park. So jet cars all thrown into it, all from jet trucks to jet dragsters. And they are certainly putting on a show for the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals. Yeah. And the Snowbirds have, for a long time in the Pro Mod world, carried big significance. But for the first time ever, and I'm excited for this, I have said for a while now, since getting into this scene and commenting on drag racing, that it would be cool to see someone take these big one-off events and string them together for some bigger money prize. And we're finally seeing that. There will be, for the first time ever, with the world of Pro Mod and what Drag Illustrated is doing with the Winter Series, a champion in the off season.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome. And they get a championship ring. You know, big kudos to the guys and girls at Drag Illustrated. I know Wes has a lot of passion for the sport. And he's always trying to do something to elevate and continue to push forward what we do in drag racing. And this here is something special, especially for the pro mod world, but just for everything that's going to be there. It is going to be something special, and it's a precursor to, to the pro superstar shootout that's going to come, to everything else that's going on. It's a huge event for people who just want to keep racing, and gives a reason for people to come out and get after it. And there's some heavy hitters that are going to be involved in this thing, and I'm excited. This thing is going to be absolutely awesome. And you're going to see some real strong competition, especially there's some really good money on the line. And when you're crowning the champion, they want to be that first champion. So it's going to be awesome to see how this all plays out. A lot of people bringing out cars. I know Brian Karate is bringing his Pro Mod out. He'd been working on it, and they've been piecing it together in the off season. They're going to be bringing that thing out. You got Antron and that Lexus. Right. Erica decided that she wants to come back.
Yep.
In Pro Mod, which I'm glad to see.
Yes.
I don't like the way it ended for her. I'm sure that
literally a ball of fire.
Yes, I don't like the way that ended, and I know it took a little while for her to get back on the bike, but I'm glad she's getting back on the bike. You gotta get that whole thing shooken off and out of your system, and I hope she has some great success. Back in it, but some heavy hitters coming into play. Yes, another heavy hitter who's he's going to be dangerous. That cat can drive anything that's got doors and
has won big races. Like he won the first World Door Slammer Nationals.
Yeah, in
Pro Mod.
Yeah,
there at Orlando Speed World. 3-4 years ago now, and you every heavy hitter in Pro Mod, they're gonna be there.
Lyle's gonna be there. I'm happy to see him out there. I believe Stevie Fast is gonna be out there too.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. I'm happy to see him out there too. Miss him in the NHRA series, but it's gonna be fun.
What I like about it is you had these big events and the three races: the Snowbirds, the U.S. Street Nationals. That's going to be January 23rd through the 26th. And then the World Series of Pro Mod. That's February 27th through March 1st. These three races are now strung together as a championship series with some extra money, championship ring, as you mentioned. And these races have been races where maybe you do NHRA, maybe you do Midwest, maybe you do PDRA, maybe you do Northeast Outlaw Pro Mod Association, maybe you're doing, we're not going to have it any longer, but you were doing NMRA. And all of these teams would come together, run 8th Mile, and compete. And you kind of have this rivalry between the people. Well, I'm PDRA, I'm NHRA, I'm this and this and this. And you kind of almost have, someone crowned in these one-off events over everyone, and they got bragging rights for themselves, for their series, for their power adder combination. Okay. Yeah. And what I like now is like, it's almost like, okay, this is like champions of champions, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I know you might have won NHRA championship, and that is a big stage. But honestly, for Pro Mod, they still are kind of, well, it's an old IHRA thing,
Yeah.
and I mean, I know why they're there. It's the platform, but Pro Mod, it's not quite NHRA. It just fits better when it's everywhere else. Okay,
I agree.
I mean, I'm sorry if you don't like that. I'm sorry. Okay,
It's a door slammer thing, man.
it just,
You know what I mean?
look where it comes from. Look how
Yeah.
it came about. Look how they've been. Okay, this feels like it is the Pro Mod thing.
Yeah.
Like
It
they've
does.
been doing this down in Florida for decades, and now it is strung together. I feel like if you win this one, if you win this very small window of opportunity to be successful in this championship, like you've got to be very consistent and you've got to be very successful to come away with this championship. There
Yeah.
are no mulligans, there are no screw ups.
No.
And you're going up against the best of the best. I really feel like if you win the Drag Illustrated World Series, Drag Illustrated Winter Series, yeah, you might be the top Pro Mod driver and team.
Yeah.
And you can take that into next year. And you can carry that to PDRA, NHRA, wherever you go.
Yeah. I think that is it. I think you are it. You are the driver of Pro Mod, period. Because this thing could be, like you said, no mulligans. There's some heavy hitters out here, man. There are going to be people swinging the bats. I don't envy any of them. This is going to be a very, very, very tough thing to win. But the action is just going to be just asinine for fans. I mean, this is going to be top level, high intensity, just close cut racing. It's going to be fun, man. This is something. This is something here.
Yes, it's one of the. I've never been able to do the Snowbirds, the U.S. Street Nationals, or the World Series of Pro Mod. I was able to do and was blessed to do the two World Door Slammer Nationals, which were great events at Orlando.
Yeah.
But I've never been able to do these three. Man, I wish I could be there at Bradenton this weekend and string this whole championship together and cover it because I think it's big. I think it's monumental for the sport of drag racing, in particular for the Pro Mod racers. This is going to be big, and this is something. This is for them. That they should really view this as the biggest of things. And hey, kudos to Wes, the Drag Illustrated team, everybody involved. I think it is a positive for the sport of drag racing. I love that someone is putting together, like I've been saying for years, and I'm not the only one, and I'm not saying anything new, but you see it in dirt track racing, you see it in sports car racing, you see it in horse racing. If you can win certain key events, there's a multiplier of something, and usually it does involve money, and that's the case here. And they're crowning a champion of these three big events that take place in the off season of drag racing. Pro Mod drag racing in particular, it's in season.
Yes.
Always.
And I gotta give Wes a lot of credit for not only does he talk it, but he definitely walks it. He's gonna do whatever he can do to try to one up whatever it is that he does. You know what I mean? And he's always looking to take it to the next level. And this is definitely next level. He talks about Pro Mod and putting it on a pedestal. Well, you just did it, buddy. This one here, when you win it, that driver's going to be talking stuff, and they ain't gonna be able to tell him nothing for him or her nothing for a long time.
Right.
After this, and this is the start of something great. This thing goes off the way it does, and there's going to be people building stuff to come out here and try to etch their name in history involving this winter series.
I agree. And, to Andrew's question, sprint car racers going to Australia and like NHRA racers, doing the same. Well, I think we already are seeing that. Like, you've got Erica Enders in this field, you have Antron Brown in this field, and then you have many NHRA pro mod racers themselves. I think that you're seeing something come to pass that even Wes has many times said, that pro mods could become that universal place for people to hop into and continue drag racing. And you have different personalities and you have people from different classes come together and race against each other. I would love to see more pro stock representation in the pro mod ranks at these type of events. That would be great to see. And you could see those rivalries play out again, but at big races like this. I'd love to see Greg Anderson and Erica Enders pro mod. Why not?
Yeah.
I'll take that anytime. Whether
Dallas
it's pro stock, pro mod, or Fisher's Price red and yellow pedal cars. Okay.
Yep. I think Dallas Glenn and Aaron Stanfield could do something like this as well. Shoot. As competitive as Austin Prock is, could you imagine that cat?
Why not?
Out here? I mean, good Lord. I mean, it would be sensational. And you even go back and you look at some of the you look at some alcohol drivers. You look at some of these sportsman champions, very well capable coming out here and making some hay and mixing it up a little bit. It would definitely be fun to watch.
I agree. And I think there is some economical opportunity in that renting for a championship series that's 3 races is a lot easier compared to 12.
Yes.
Or 8.
That's doable.
Okay.
Yep.
So I think there's a lot of smart in all that is happening here, stringing these classic, big, well-known events together and crowning a champion. Drag racing is continued. The only downside may be people that work in the industry. They're like, man, we want a break. Like, come on.
Right.
Can we not get some time off? But nonetheless, drag racing is alive and well, and it is things like the longevity of the Snowbirds and the U.S. Street Nationals and things like the revived platform of a World Series of Pro Mod, with now the inception and the inaugural spin of the Winter Series. Well, if I may, they certainly have a blizzard of momentum, I think, for the drag racing world.
Oh yeah, this is drag racing Christmas right here. I mean,
yes,
doesn't get any better than this.
Yes. I agree. Well, we got a lot in the drag racing world to look forward to in the weeks ahead of us, from pro mod racing to no prep racing to daily driver drag racing.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. Folks, just remember, dive into the comment section if you want to. Let us know the events that are taking place near you, if you know anything about them. There's events coming up at Maple Grove. There's events coming up at Dragway 42, Texas Motorplex, obviously down there at Bradenton. And I'm sure there's many other tracks that we have not listed that are going to be having spectacular events. Drag racing does not stop. There is no off season.
No off season. It just keeps going. And it's good, man. This is a good place to be right now. And really probably first time in probably a very long time that you're seeing a lot of these one-off events and a lot of these events at tracks. People are starting to understand how to navigate and maximize their track and their facility to continue to thrive and to keep racing going. So
right.
That's really good to see,
right.
Because in this day and age, you have to find other avenues and other ways of revenue. It's not cheap to have these tracks and with taxes and things of that nature. So this is good stuff. And the fact that people are entering and being a part of this makes it even better. So it's all around good for the sport of drag racing, and we're in a great time right now. I don't think it's something we've ever seen before. So this is fun. Enjoy it, ladies and gentlemen. Because
Yes, enjoy it.
It's here.
I know from the chaos world, there was a blurb on a brand new social media page titled "Fuel Altered Chaos," that 2025 might be the time.
That would be fun.
So Chris Graves, promoter extraordinaire, always got something cooking, and there's something boiling on the stove right now for Fuel Alters.
I love it. I love it. Then potential what we may have announced from the NHRA, and possibly bringing some of that nitro to smaller tracks, possibly like we've been talking about. Man, if that's wow, that people are going to have something to do, and hey, you may not be able to get to a national event, but there's so much other nitro racing that you're going to be able to do, and to expand chaos in that fashion. That's the classic stuff. The alters are the classic stuff.
Right.
You might even see Buddy come back and pull his altered out.
Look, I can tell you on more altered news that there are things behind the scene right now to get altered back on the biggest platform. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's again another classic form of racing where things got started to where we are now with funny cars and dragsters. Would be super awesome to see. Those cars are, they remind me of what we see with Southeast Gassers. Those style of cars kind of take you back to the old days. And hey, you burn a little alcohol, a little nitro. Ain't nobody going to be mad about that either. So yeah, that's awesome. I'm really hoping that kicks off as well, and that helps the Chaos series as well.
Certainly does. Well, Tuesday, man, it has been a good power hour chatting it up concerning drag racing in winter. It certainly is alive and well. It certainly does not have an off-season. Shops are slammed and busy, and we've got racing happening all across the country, honestly. And we're all looking forward to it, whether it's trade shows, being at the track, or being in the shop, or getting that item from the shop and working in our own garages and getting to the track, or taking that daily out and sending it. It's a good time in drag racing, and it keeps getting better and better.
You see Andrew's thing. He says, do you guys have any insight on the Dragzine post about something new coming to Stock Eliminator?
Not in particular. No, I don't. I saw that post as well. Not sure what the rumblings are that they are referring to. I did also notice, though, a new email blast from the NHRA called Sportsman Roundup. So there may very well be some more sportsman activation in the NHRA, which would be a great thing for those in the sportsman ranks, because there are some issues right now, not pertaining to stock, but Top Alcohol Funny Car. We got to wait for the announcements and what's going to come down the pipeline, but there are some critical decisions being made this off season, and decisions that will, I think, axe the class, not by the NHRA's axing it, but by the competitors saying we're done, or it kind of continuing on as we've understood it. So Top Alcohol Funny Car, the enigma that is Top Alcohol Funny Car within the NHRA ranks, keep your ears open for news.
Yeah, hopefully it's positive.
I hope so too.
Yeah, that class has gotten a little bit light as far as competitors.
Light.
Yeah, and hopefully it's something that can flip this thing around and get some more competitors out there. for that particular class. We got plenty in dragster, but for some reason, funny car's a little light.
Right, and that's not to say top alcohol funny car drag racing is dying. No, it's just it's moved elsewhere. It's Midwest Drag Racing. It's Funny Car Chaos. You've got the PADR, and with the Hools, they're trying to fire that up, and people looking at other places to race.
Yeah,
it is an issue, honestly, of top alcohol funny car at the NHRA.
Yeah,
and I hope that it comes to a favorable conclusion, and that the competitors that are there feel that they are able to stay and to continue to compete.
Yeah, me too. That's important. And we've been kind of hearing the rumblings of the issues that class, both dragster and funny car, have, and hopefully they can get that worked out.
I hope so too. So Andrew, to your question, that's a question I certainly have and ponder, and I think PRI is a place that we're going to certainly learn more about such matters. Indeed. Well, I don't think we're going to learn any more tonight with us two yakking it up, but I certainly have enjoyed it, and we got a lot to look forward to. Folks, you can turn into NC Pro Modder. NC Pro Modder Jay is down there at Bradenton. If you don't have Flow, you can see some of his live stream efforts up to the point in which they're like, hey, because of our agreements and everything, it now goes to strictly Flow. Again, Corey Stamper, Spooled Media, SPOOLD Media. You can check him out on YouTube. If I'm not mistaken, he is streaming Dig or Die from Rockingham, and a lot of drag racing for you to partake in this very weekend and enjoy. So enjoy it.
Yeah.
Dujane, enjoyed the time with you tonight. Enjoyed the time with each and every one of you out there. We thank you for tuning in to the Competition Plus Power Hour. Hit the like button, hit the share button, dive into the comment section. See us again Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, God bless and keep the pedal to the metal. This word now from Peak, because I think things are peaking, even though it's the supposed off-season.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it P. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze, and coolant. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.